Hi, Rowena. We are back again with another BTS episode. I am
Hello,
good, and we
Krista.
have
How are
had a
you?
great chat before we started recording. So, we're in very high spirits today. So, so,
That's
yeah,
right.
every
It's
time we
we're in
meet,
high
we're
spirits
talking
every
about something,
time.
and we can't, actually, we can't differentiate between when we're talking and discussing versus when we're recording. It seems the same to me.
It's the little red
So,
button.
Rowena, today let's talk
That's the one. Oh,
about
yes, we're
our
recording.
program. So, from vision to voice is the program that we are developing. And by the time you watch this, the program is already out there. And it is already out there. And you can check it out. But today we want to talk about something that's really important because you may be watching this and you may be thinking, am I the person for this program? Or who is this program for? And should I even consider being part of this program? So I would like to put this question to you, Rowena. Like, who is this program for? And why are we doing this?
Great. That's great. Thank you, Krista. I shall rise to that challenge. Okay, so the title of our program is From Vision to Voice, a 4-week visibility sprint for women who do great work. So, in our title, it's already kind of making clear the kind of people that we want to support. And it's very positive. I like this title, Women Who Do Great Work, because it's recognition of the fact that we're all working on things, things that are meaningful, things, that are creating impact, that is, delivering value. And we're doing that in our circles of influence, as I like to call it. So, this is a visibility sprint, which to me is all about being seen, being heard, and being valued. If you want people to see you for who you are, to understand what you're doing, to recognize your contribution, they've got to be able to see everything. And it's hard. It's hard to see everything and to, get an understanding of the total scope and the context, right? And so we're living in a distracted world. There's so much coming at us. How can we make sure that people see all of the important bits that can, the little bits of information that when they all connect, they come together in such a powerful way and people get you. They're like, yes, I know exactly what you're working on. I know exactly the kind of value that you're creating through your work, right? So that's what this sprint is all about. It's all about visibility, but not just for the sake of being seen, it's also for being understood. And we want to be able to help women to do just that because as women ourselves, we know some of the challenges that women face. It could be that they are unsure, it could be that they are afraid, it could be that they've been burnt before. There's so many ways in which we can be pulled down. But the key is to rise up again, to keep asking yourself the question, what am I doing? What is it that I'm working on? Why am I doing what I'm doing? And how badly do I want to work on this? So if you are somebody, so there's so many ways to answer this question. So people might think, oh, this is this for business people? Yes, in a way, if you're a business person, if you run a business, it's been running for a couple of years, or maybe you're just started, and it's slowly moving from idea to implementation, or maybe it's still in at idea stage, just having a business plan, or maybe you're doing a bit of a side gig. You've got the full-time role and you're very happy there, but you want something more. You want to flex your creative muscles. You want to just kind of do more than one thing. Like, I understand that because I like to do more than one thing too. So if you're doing that and you're not quite sure whether you want to be still in the corporate field or you want to get into this business that you're starting, but it's still kind of fledgling, Or, hey, this is maybe something I might consider when I'm retired. There's a variety of scenarios that could apply. So yes, if you're in business, fully in business, partially in business, kind of dipping your toes in, maybe considering business, but also this is for people who are in fully into their careers. So they're not really running a business, but they're ready for more. Maybe they just want a lot more visibility because they're doing the work, but they're not being noticed, or they're doing the work, but they now want to open themselves up for board roles or just, different kinds of projects. And they're just fed up because they're just not being seen. They're not being valued, you know? So this is where that visibility really matters. And we want to be able to walk with you as you get on that journey to building your visibility. Yeah. So it's also for high achievers. Okay. So if you've been keeping a low profile and you've been doing a whole bunch of things and been really successful, but you just don't feel like people are fully aware, then this program is for you too. But I'll stop here. I'll let you continue because, Krista, you've also got some ideas as to who you think this program is for. So yeah, those
For
are
me,
my
I
ideas
think
for now.
this program is for you if you believe that you're not very confident in showing up online, especially in the digital space. And a lot of people, and I work with a lot of women, and a lot of women feedback and tell me this, that I just don't get social media. I can't do social media. I can't do those videos. I don't want to show up online. And the thing that they tell me is this: I don't want to be inauthentic when I'm showing up. And this has been repeated to me many times. Every time I talk to someone and they'll tell me, oh, I know I should be on social media. I know I should be somewhere online. I know I should put myself out there more. But it's just so hard because I don't know really how to present myself out there. And they always fall back on this fact that I don't want to be cringeworthy. I think someone told me this. It's like, oh, that's like not me at all. So to me, I feel their frustration. I feel that they want it. They know it's good for them to be online, to be out there, not just talking about their products or their business or their careers, but really showing up as themselves so that other people can get to know them. And both of us, Rowena, we're both on LinkedIn. We know that on LinkedIn you can have a lot of connections. But how many of us really know our connections well enough to say that, hey, I'm going to do this with them, like me and you, right? We know each other well enough that we're running and developing and conducting this program together. But how many people can say that they really know someone very well? And it's not because sometimes you don't have that time to follow up with the other person, but also because we don't show up enough on in the digital space that people get to know us for us. So even if you're coming in and say, hey, I don't have a business right now, I really don't want to, talk so much about the business side of things or where I am in my career journey, but just showing up as you so that other people can get to know you. I think that's also powerful. And I feel that is the first step sometimes, without all this pressure of saying, I need to write about my business. I need to promote and I need to promote my products or talk about my services. Way before you start that, way before you get into the mode of talking about your business or your career, where you are, what promotions you've had in the past, sometimes we just need to show up as ourselves first. And once we are comfortable with that, we can start asking ourselves, so what other things do I want to share with the world about what I'm doing? And if we can't show up confidently online, it's kind of like people can't get to know you at a deeper level and can't connect with you at a deeper level. And I think most of us know this, that we go online, we watch a TikTok video, we watch a YouTube video. while we enjoy and we are entertained by the video, we actually want to know the person who's making the video, right? I mean, it's just like if I watch a video of someone, I really want to know that person. And through watching the video, I actually know that person better, even though she's talking about, products or things that she's, doing. But it really is about that person. So I feel that before we even start thinking about, I want to go online to share about my career journey or my business, I think just being able to step out and just talk about ourselves in the most authentic, in the most sincere way possible, that would actually start that journey for us in a much better way than just say, okay, I'm going to start and I'm going to talk about my stuff, right? The stuff that I'm doing in my life.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. It makes a lot of sense. I think for me, when I think back to, say, the last 15, 20 years, when the early days before video, yeah, I did really struggle with being online, especially with video. At that point, a lot of the work that I was doing was, showing up in my writing through articles. And even then, that still was a bit of a struggle because, you're making your viewpoints known, you're sharing your ideas. And, it's not just about sharing the idea, it's how you share your idea and how you're putting your thoughts together. And, am I saying something that's already been said? Am I saying anything new? Am I saying anything useful? And I think before I started the writing journey, when I was pretty much, I guess, at the start of it, it was a struggle because you just don't know what you're doing. And you're not quite sure what you are trying to do. And that contributed to a lot of, unease with being public. But just sharing my story here, I guess, is just thinking about what it was that I was trying to do, what I was working on, and what was the ultimate goal. Just helping people to show up online, helping people to understand. So back then when I was writing and I was running the magazine, I was getting people to also contribute articles, and they were like, no, I'm happy to chat with you. I mean, I would get onto these 1-hour phone interviews thinking we were working on an article, only to have the person then tell me, yeah, I'm happy to share all of this. And we had a great conversation, but then don't put my name on this. I'm like, how's that going to work? I need an article and you've shared all of this stuff, but now you don't want to be out there, because it's too sensitive, or, there's always reasons, right? We've always got objections. And so then my goal kind of shifted to not just being about getting articles and writing and focusing on the magazine and the next issue. It was, how can I support people so they feel more comfortable doing this? Because I was beginning to find it was getting easier and easier, but then these people were finding it really difficult. And I wanted to support them so that they could feel, hey, this is something that I can do. Because if they could do it, they could get their thoughts out there. Because the fact is, they had ideas. They had strong ideas. They had opinions. They had beliefs and values, but it was just not coming across. Yes, in the work environment, probably, possibly. But outside of that, no one is aware because, there's no article, right? So, yeah, I think partly why this program is so important to me is because I want to make sure that people can understand where we are coming from and the journey that we've been on. And so we are not kind of providing some sort of silver bullet. We just understand there's a lot that goes into this journey, not to scare anyone, but there's couple of things in the mix, but we've been there and we want to walk alongside you as you go through this. So you're not alone, like we were. I don't know about you, Krista, but I was alone for quite a big chunk of it. I love the idea that I can walk alongside other people that are going through this and sort of, if they have questions or whatever, that I can kind of share my thoughts on it.
I think when you said
So,
that you you were alone,
Yeah.
and now that you can walk alongside someone and share your experiences of the past and teach, or at least share, or guide them through it, right? For me, I think a lot of times, because both of us are communicators, and I think that's what is interesting, is that as communicators, when we first started out, I mean, this was pre-video, right? This was way before video. When I first started out online, I still remember, it was Facebook and Twitter, and it was text based. But even that, as a communicator, I mean, sometimes we struggle. Like, what do I put out online? Like, why would the world even care what I said? And of course, on Facebook, it's easier because it's all family and friends, people who already knew you, right? Or know you. But sometimes on a professional platform like LinkedIn, it could be even more frightening, because people don't know you. And that's where the fear starts to congeal in your stomach, right? Like it gets stuck there. Like you don't even know what perspective to take. Even though sometimes a lot of people I talk to offline, they do have a perspective. But when it comes to sharing them online, they say, no, I can't. I can't do that. I can't share that. I say, why not? No, it's too controversial. Or it's too polarizing. Or people will hate me if I said that. And I think that is what we fear. We fear stating the things that we actually state in our offline conversations with people. And that is what scares people. Like, I tell, oh my God, I have to share this. I don't want to share this. I want to share something safe. I want to share something that's very, very palatable, very, very easy to swallow kind of thing. Nothing difficult. So for me, when I was slowly sharing my ideas and my thoughts, for me, it was also getting comfortable with the ideas. Oh, could I actually share something that is a little bit, well, not something that most people will share about? Could I share something like that? And of course, it's scary, right? Because you don't know how other people are going to react to it. Because sometimes it could backfire. Some people will say, "Oh, that's a terrible," or not only terrible. Some people will put it in the comments, right? Like, that's a terrible thing to say, or that's a terrible idea. What kind of stupid idea is that? So we feel judged for the things that we put out online. And I understand that. So it will take some time to find your feet. And so it's not a automatic thing, right? You won't automatically get there. But if you start to understand yourself and your communication style and your personality and what you want to say, you can say some controversial things in a very nice way sometimes. So I guess that's the advantage of being communicators. And I like your take on that.
Yeah. And it's also I think another thing that's crossed my mind also is through this journey of being in communication and just being out there sharing my ideas and thoughts either through articles and in videos. What I've realized is I've come to discover and hone my voice. And when I started, I didn't know where this would end up. I had no idea, right? And that's the other thing that you have to be willing to do when you come on a program like this. It's a period of discovery. And that's also why it's going for 4 weeks. It's not a quick fix. There's no silver bullet thing. It's a journey. It's a process, and we got to give ourselves a bit of time. We've got to be patient. We've got to sit with that discomfort and that uncertainty, because there will be discomfort and uncertainty because you're figuring things out. And each participant in the cohort is going to have different situations, culture, experiences, work history, that's all going, and values and beliefs, that's all going to come together in very unique ways to create their experience. And so there is no one size fits all for this sort of program. It's very unique and tailored to the people, which is why we want to make sure that the program is, the cohort is small so that it's personalized and, individual attention, so that you can go through this process
And you're also
with
learning from
support
two
and
people who
confidence.
are doing it and who have started like way before we were ever called to do videos. And as we learn certain things, we get comfortable with it, we try, we practice, we do more of it. And I think that a lot of times people assume that when they get started online, they have to be absolute pros at it. No one is a pro. No, we
Perfect. Yeah. No. And we will tell you all the ways in which we get things wrong. That's that's partly behind. What is the behind the scenes, you know? We're flying by the seat of our pants here. Yes, we have a bit of a plan when we start, but the conversation just happens. It's not scripted, and that's what you have to go through this. You have to go through this process, and we will share all of the things that we've gotten wrong. At no point have I ever said that I've gotten it right the entire way, that I've been a success the whole time. I have screwed up so many times, but I think my saving grace is that I just pick myself up and go, do I still want to do this? Can I do this again? And then you just get up and carry
yeah.
on. And I think
Yeah.
you do the
And so
same, Krista.
this brings us to the question, right? So, like some people may be thinking, I've tried to shut up online before, but I gave up. What if I fail again? So, and I say, well, at least you tried, right? At least we tried. For me and Rowena, we're always trying. I mean, even this program is our way of trying. I mean, we could have said,
Exactly.
hey, Rowena, you do your thing, I do my thing, and we
Yes.
could just do our own thing. But why we're putting time and effort and energy into creating something when we already have so much happening in our businesses and in our lives and everything else? Because we feel that this is, well, of course, this is a program, but we also feel that at some point we want to share stuff that didn't go right in our lives, right? The mistakes we made. And we want to share them with you so that at least you know. Okay, nobody is a pro the first time around. All of us have made mistakes. And of course, when you see the things that we write online or the videos that we are making right now, you're thinking, oh, I could never do that, right? I mean, showing up on video is a really a big deal for a lot of people. And I can say it was a really big deal for me too when I tried doing video. It was so uncomfortable. It was so cringy. I was so nervous. But we just have to do
Yeah.
those first few. I mean, we just have to get through those first few crazy episodes where we're like uncomfortable, self-conscious, feeling like I have nothing to say and I don't want to say anything. And, how or what would people say about this video, because this is just so not me. But as time goes by, you start getting comfortable with being on video, being on screen. And that's why I said I pushed myself to do it, because I did Facebook Live during the pandemic year of 2020. I didn't have to do it. I could have happily done the stuff that I do, in my business. But I told myself, well, I need to practice. I need to do something. So let me do the thing that I really, really fear. So failing is not a problem. Not doing anything is the problem.
Yes, I agree. So when I think about that question, right, I've tried to show up, but I gave up. Well, what if you fail again? Then my answer
Yes.
is, well, so what if you fail again? I think we have to open up to the possibility that failing along the way is
Yeah.
going to be what happens. And that's okay. We can't expect to get it right from day one. That is tremendous pressure to figure everything out when you've just started. You have to fail along the way. So I have shown up online and I have made mistakes, and the thing that I come back to always is when you encounter a setback or a challenge, I just ask myself, well, what am I doing? What am I doing here? Why did that happen? And what am I doing here? And I go back to my purpose. And if I know what I'm doing and how badly I want to do it, what I'm trying to do this for, and I still am interested in doing that, then I say, well, that's fine. I know not to do it this way. Now I'll do it another way. So it's a test of your resolve, a test of, how badly you want this thing. If you want it badly enough, then you have to be willing to kind of sit with it for a bit. So I say, yes, part and parcel of showing up online is getting it wrong
And as
sometimes, but
as
that's
we
okay.
all know, right? When we show up online, there's always this. I mean, failing is one of it, and like you said, so what, right? So what if you fail? So what if you hit a brick wall? So, like you, I would also ask myself, if I failed at something, I would always ask myself, what did I learn from it? And if I learned something that I could do better the next round, I would do that. And even if sometimes I ask myself, am I going to make a fool of myself? I mean, come on. I'm not the only person making videos, right? I'm not the only person creating a podcast or, writing about something online. There are tons of people doing that. And people are still doing that every single day. And no one's died yet from failing online. So I guess, failing online is just part and parcel of that. And if we don't fail online, we will never know how to improve.
That's right. Plus, it's
Yeah.
real. This is what life is. So it's okay to fail. It just shows you're human. And if you fail online and people see it, well, then they get to see all aspects of you, not the polished thing that we're putting up. And I think that's important. That's real, especially nowadays, when we're living in the era of polished videos and everyone wanting to show their best versions of themselves. I think it's really important to be real, to be authentic. And so having that failure, keeping it real, like all of these videos that we are doing, there's
Yeah.
no jingle. There's no jingle, right, Krista? There's no intro, there's no outro. It's just straight record, and then we hit stop, and then we push it out. It's just keeping it real. We want you to, and the whole idea behind the scenes, what's that about? It's to keep it real. We don't want to just have that finished product out there. We want you to understand why we did this. Why have we developed this program? What are we trying to achieve? And we want you to be able to walk with us as we are developing the program because it's still in development. We want you to, ask us questions. We want you to see
Yeah.
who are these two goons here? No, not goons, not goons. But like, who are
Yeah.
these two fellas here? What are they all about? And if you watch the behind the scenes, then you get a sense of who I am, you get a sense of who Krista is, and those things help you to figure out, hey, do I want to invest in this program when these two are running it? These videos are meant to help you make that decision. Hopefully,
Yeah.
it's
But even
supporting
if
our
you even
efforts.
if you
I
you
think it
know they
is.
are thinking about joining the program, just get on the wait list, right? Just thinking about just get on the wait list. I mean, just be there so that we can keep you updated about you know not just this program, but there are other future programs that Rowena and I plan to probably develop, right? So Rowena, before that, I have this other question for you. What if I'm not a content creator influencer? Is this program still for me? I think we answered that, did we? Even if you're not content creator or influencer, is the program still for you? And I think that if you heard what Rowena and I said, if you're keen on sharing your thoughts, if you're keen on doing something with your message, or you're something really, really meaningful, and you believe that you have that, you have something for the world, I think the program is for you. You don't have to be a content creator, you don't have to be an influencer. And really, our program is really not for content creators or influencers. Are we? Are we doing it for them?
That's right. That's right. Well, yeah, I know when people think content creator, influencers, these people have already got their branding figured out and they're pumping out content left, right, and center. This program isn't really for those people, and it's meant for people, everyday people who are busy with their business and with their career journey, whatever that looks like, right? So it's for everyday people who are just busy crafting their career, and but somehow there are pauses and roadblocks along the way and they're not fully able to come to the front and say, sorry,
This is
there's a
real
call
life. This is
coming in.
unscripted. This is unscripted.
Sorry. This I have to sorry about that. Yeah, so it's for you to be able to express your life, express yourself, share your messages. It's not meant for content creators and influencers. We welcome them if they want to join this program, but it's for people who don't see themselves in that way, but want to, they're trying to drive a message, they're advocating for certain things to happen, and they need some support in figuring out, well, how do I go about doing this? Because before you can get your message out there, you've got to have your profile clear. You've got to think about, who am I and what's my message and how do I appear? And if you are the sort of person who thinks, well, I don't
All
really
of
have a
us have.
personal brand, actually you do. Even if you're not working on your brand, there is a brand. Yes, there is a brand. So rather than just let it develop haphazardly, you want to be very mindful about what that brand looks like and, kind of curate and create and just be mindful about what you are putting out.
Okay, final question, Rowena. I don't know what to write or what to say or write about. Will you help with that?
Yes, we will. Both of us are going to be there throughout the program. We're not just giving you a bunch of activities, we are helping you, walking with you, alongside you, so that you can work on discovering what your stories are, figuring out what your messaging is, kind of connecting the dots between different pieces of the puzzle in a way, because it will feel a bit like a puzzle, and work on building your personal voice bank, which Krista will tell you a little bit more about. We're just going to help you figure out positioning. We're going to help you figure out content ideas. But yes, the short of it is we're there throughout to guide you
Yeah.
the entire
And I
journey.
feel that one of the things that I think both of us have very similar thoughts about this is that we want to be effective with our time. We want to create the right messages that go out. So we'll also be sharing a lot of our own personal hacks and tips and strategies on how we work around things like that. I know everyone is busy. Everyone, our life is not just about sitting in front of the computer and, typing out a bunch of, or typing out a bunch of posts is one thing, but, creating a bunch of videos and all that. We don't have the time for that. So how do you make time for that? How do you work it in to your busy business or career life and not make it feel like it's a burden, like, oh no, I have to create a video this week, oh, I have to do this. So I guess in my lingo, there's no such thing as a have to. Is that you must want to do it, but how can we make it easy so that it doesn't have to be another to do on your to do list? It can be very natural. So I'll share a lot more about that. And I think just now, when you talk about voice bank, I think what you meant was a story bank. I was thinking,
Yes,
what?
voice
Voice
bank.
bank. I was thinking
Oh,
like,
story bank.
interesting. I never
Yes,
thought
that.
about voice bank. I know I do. I know I have a podcast. I know it's all about voices and audio, but I don't have a voice. I do have a story bank, and how to create a story bank. Be- because how you create a story
Story bank's
bank
good.
is the difference between you showing up online consistently, regularly, versus you showing up every 6 months, if ever, or you showing up as and when you feel like it. And so we'll teach you all this, well, what you call it, tips, right? Tips and strategies. How do we make it work for ourselves so that we can help you make it work for you rather than
Yep.
you figure out very excited in the first week and then probably that enthusiasm tapers off in week 3 and 4 because you realize that, oh, I've got to do some stuff, right? So we're going to share with you things that we've learned and perhaps you may want to adopt our practices, our strategies, and help you manage social media or manage showing up without feeling overwhelmed, without feeling that this is another thing I have to do. No, we don't have to do anything we don't want to do. We need to do the things that we want to do because it makes meaning and it creates purpose and opportunities in our lives. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Well said.
Thank you. My
Well said,
voice for a
Krista.
moment I was stumped. What was the voice bank? So, so this is the episode that we know whenever we get
Uh,
to recording, we always assume we can wrap it up in 20 minutes. And I tell Rowena, no, I don't think we can wrap it up in 20 minutes. 20 minutes is too short for the both of us. So we have come, well, technically to the end of this episode. But before we end, anything that you want to add on, Rowena, before we get them to check out our page?
Anything to add? Just to stay open and explore and get curious, I think is probably the message I'd like to
And
end with.
yeah, and also give yourself
It's
that
worth a
chance,
shot.
right? I mean, if not now, when are you going to do something about your career, your business, or your marketing, or at least even building up your own personal brand? And a lot of time these
Yes.
days, the personal brand is where it all begins, right? It begins in your personal brand.
No,
Yeah.
that's right. Urgency. Now is the time. If you're wondering when
Yeah.
is the time, now is the time.
Now's the time.
Now is the time. Okay, that's
Okay,
my message.
so
Now is the
watch out
time.
for our upcoming
Now's the time.
episode. If you're following our BTS, if you liked it, please leave a comment. Or even if you don't want to leave a comment, just give us a thumbs up or subscribe to Digital Confluence YouTube channel. Uh, and email us if you feel that, you want to send us a message and you want to tell us something in private, email us. We'll be happy to take your emails. Of course, you can find us on the both of us on LinkedIn. You can just search for my name, search for Rowena's name, and you'll find us. And come and be a friend. Don't be just a connection. Be a friend. And so we will see you in the next episode.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Have a
see
good
you.
weekend, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh